town and I'd wear my Steeler, jacket. I had my Steeler beanie on, and everybody seemed to know who I was. And I was just feeling good being part of it. Forget about the fact that I really wasn't getting in the game. But something changed going into my second year. Something inside me, I said, you know what? I need to do more than just be on the team. I want to play. I want to get in the game. So I went to the coach and I said, what do you think I should do? What can I do to play more? And he said there were a few things I could do. He said, number one, you need to learn your assignments so I have confidence so I can put you in and I know that you'll know what to do. He said, then it would help you if you got a little stronger. You're a little bit scrawny, coming out of college. If you get a little stronger, then I won't be worried about you. And I know you'll be able to hold up against whoever we play. And he said, probably the third thing you can do is get with some of the veteran players. Watch your teammates. See how they train. See how they prepare. And hang around them. I think that would help you and benefit you. So I did all that. I started following the veterans. I started watching them. And I worked out as much as I could. I lifted weights all winter and all spring. And I trained and ran. And I was in my bag. I got my playbook, took it home. I read every night. I wanted to know exactly what I was supposed to do on every single play. And you know what? It paid off for me. I got back that second year, and I did get to play more. And I'll tell you what, man, it was something else. I mean, I thought that first year I was having fun. When I got in the games, and I was actually out there making things happen, it was just, and it was so gratifying. It was amazing to come in the locker room after a game, after we'd won a big game, know that I had done my part to really help the team out. But it also let me understand exactly why I didn't play much that first year, because I really wasn't ready. I wasn't strong enough. I didn't know enough. And I could have made some big mistakes that really hurt the team if they put me in before I knew exactly what I was doing. Well, as I look back on my football career, I think that's a great analogy to the Christian life. Oftentimes, a bunch of people came, they accepted Christ last week. It is new. It's great. We're feeling excited. As Pastor Craig said, we're new creations. New things open up. And so we're kind of like I was that first year, just excited to be on the team. But Peter had said it. He said, we can't stay baby Christians. We can't stay rookie Christians forever. If we want to really know how to do the job that God has for us, we want to get in the game and make some things happen for God's kingdom, then we've got to mature. We've got to get stronger in our faith. And that's not just something we should want to do. That's what God expects us to do. That's what He requires. Man. So the question then becomes, how do we do that? What's the best way to grow as a Christian and prepare for the work that God has for us? What's the next step? What do I need to do? Well, the answer I would give to all those people who accepted Christ last week, the same advice that my coach gave me when I asked him and told him I wanted to be a better football player. 3 things we can do to grow as Christians. The first thing he told me was get in my playbook. And for us as Christians, this is our playbook, the Bible. And it's awesome to come here and hear messages from our pastors. Okay? They're great, they're inspirational, they make me think about how I want to live and what I want to do with life. But we can't just exist off that. We've got to dig into our Bibles for ourselves. We've got to let God speak to us in that way. We need to read. We need to let the Holy Spirit convict us by what we're reading. So what exactly do we need to read, you might ask, if you're a new Christian? Well, that depends on where you are in your walk. Okay? Brand new Christians, I always recommend the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They tell you about Jesus' life, His ministry, His walk here on earth, why He came, give you all the basics. Then you can go a little deeper. Paul wrote a lot of books. He wrote to Christian churches, Ephesians, Corinthians, Galatians, Thessalonians. And he wrote to tell the believers how to be better Christians, how to walk this life out better. He gave them instructions. He told them what God expects, and they're great books to read. The Old Testament is full of history, and it's full of relevant stories that we can learn from. But the key thing is to figure out a way to read every single day. Doesn't matter if you accepted Christ last week or if you've been a Christian for years. Every time you read the Bible, God will speak to you through it. And the more we read, the more He's going to talk to us, the better off we're going to be. And the great thing now is you can get on this phone, you can get an app, and you can get a reading plan based on your interest, on anything that gets you. There's plans for men, plans for women, for groups. You can get a reading plan on a specific topic. If you just got married, and what does God have to say about that? You can find that out. Wisdom, leadership, anxiety, you're nervous about something. You can get all these different plans to take you through the Bible and hear what God has to say. But whether you read on your own, whether you find a plan, the important thing is to make sure you're reading God's Word regularly if you want to grow.
Right. Amen.
Second thing my coach told me when I asked him, he said, get around the right teammates. Make sure you know the guys who are really serious about their roles on the team. Follow them, hang with them, learn from them. Well, in football, that's called teamwork. Spiritually, it's called fellowship. And it's so important for us. It's beneficial to any Christian, but particularly someone who wants to grow. Being around more mature believers, learning from them is important. It's critical for young Christians. But that fellowship process goes both ways. Okay? If you're a little bit more mature and you're helping someone grow, it's awesome. And you'll get sharp because you'll be focused in on what's really important in life, the things that sometimes get lost in our everyday shuffle and our busyness. Third thing my coach told me to do was get in shape. You got to work out. You got to get stronger.
Yes.
Developing that strength will be important as you get into bigger situations down the road. Well, how do we get in shape? How do you work out spiritually? Well, you do it by serving. Getting involved in projects to serve God, but also to help other people. You know, it's interesting. The disciples were having a conversation with Jesus about this in Matthew chapter 20. They were trying to figure out how they could become the stars of His team. They wanted to be the quarterback or the captain. And what Jesus told them, I'm sure kind of threw them off guard a little bit. In verse 26, this is how He answered them. He said, but among you, you will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant.
Right.
Now imagine those disciples there saying, how can I be the star of this team, Jesus? And He says, it's not going to be the one who has the most credentials. It's not going to be the one who has the biggest contract. It's not going to be the one who's the most talented. You want to be a star on my team, it's going to be the person with the biggest heart, the person who serves the best. Wow, different, but very instructive. Okay? That's what we need to do if we want to grow stronger in the Lord. We need to make sure we're serving. So, to get off the bench, get in the game spiritually, we need to read our Bibles, we need to fellowship with each other and other Christians, we need to serve our community. Well, what's the best way to do that? One of the best ways I could recommend is join a small group. You know, we have over 400 small groups in operation right here in Grace.
Wow. Yeah. And
there are small groups for anybody, men, for women, for couples. There's groups that meet on every single campus we have. They do a lot of different things. Almost anything you're interested in, you can find somebody who shares that same interest, and you can get together with them. I'll give you a great example. My wife Lauren is in a group called the Iron Sharpeners. Okay, do we have any Iron Sharpeners here? A couple, yep, oh, okay, I see you, I see you. Tell you what the Iron Sharpeners are. It's a ladies running group, okay? Now that would not interest me at all, because I don't like to run, okay? But they do. So they got this group, they got together, hey, we enjoy running, let's do it. But it's more than physical fitness. It's more than working out. They have Bible study, okay, before they run. They have fellowship. They pray with each other. They pray for each other. And they serve. They run on some days, they work out, but on other days they just go to different ministries around the city, and they volunteer and help out. And they also do what Jesus talked about in Acts 1:8. They witness, they tell people about Jesus when they run. Well, how do they do that? They do it like this. Okay? They wear these bright, funny outfits. Okay? They wear these crazy socks, and they have the word iron sharpeners posted. And so when they run and people look at them and say, man, that's a weird group. And then they see that iron sharpener and they say, what does that mean? And then they can tell them about Proverbs 17, and they can tell them about Jesus and what it means to help each other and sharpen each other. So when you see that picture, it's not necessarily what you think of if I say Bible study or small group. But they're awesome, and they're very, very effective. Tomorrow night, our men's group is going to see Tony Evans' movie, Kingdom Men Rising. We've got about 20 of us. We're going to go, and we've invited some teens and some 20-something boys. And we're going to go to the movies with them. And we're going to talk about what it means to be a man in this society.
That's awesome.
So those are the kind of things that happen in our small groups. It's not people just sitting around a table and having a discussion about Jesus. Some of that happens, but it's ways to be active and to enjoy each other's company while we're doing those things. And as I said, there are hundreds of groups like that at Grace. All you have to do is find the right one for you. Now, if you're tech savvy, which I'm not, but if you were young enough to say, hey, I can just go online, I can go to GFC online, and I can push the search button, and I can scroll through and find out about all these groups, you could do that. And I'm sure you'll find a group that would be interesting for you. But you know what? We're going to make it a little easier for you than that this afternoon. Because right now, before we dismiss, on all of our campuses, we're going to bring our campus pastors up. We'd also like to bring our blue shirt team and our prayer team up front. So if you're on the blue shirt team or the prayer team, we'd love for you to come up front. And we're going to do that on every campus.